in a story of making sure that everybody does right by everybody else. We have a man, a myth, a legend, a brave one. A Methodist minister has cast himself out into the cold to show his support for the LGBTQ community, vowing to sleep in a tent outside of his Michigan house for 175 days to protest his church's opposition to same-sex marriage or the ordination of LGBTQ members. His name is Reverend Mike Tupper, and he is the pastor of United Methodist Church, Parchment United Methodist Church in Parchment, Michigan. First engaged with the LGBTQ issue 6 years ago when his daughter Sarah came out as a lesbian. But his entry into the outright pro-LGBTQ activism began last year, when Sarah asked him to officiate her wedding to another woman she met while attending Wheaton College, a hardline conservative evangelical college. Pastors are prohibited from officiating same-sex marriages in Tupper's denomination, the United Methodist Church, the UMC, also known as. And those that do it are often put on trial within the church. But this pastor was brave enough and made the right decision to do it anyway. Yep. And this is what he says to our friends at ThinkProgress. I chose to do it, and the complaint was filed. All of a sudden it became so clear to me the discrimination against LGBTQ folks in this church. After he was brought up on charges by the church officials, he performed the same-sex union. He pitched a tent outside of his office, outside of the office of the man tasked with handling his case, hoping to dissuade him from prosecution. When the case ultimately moved forward, he returned to Parchment, where he is now vowing to sleep outside for 175 days until America, there is true justice. And remember, he's not sleeping outside in Miami. He's sleeping outside in Michigan. And I spent a lot of time in Michigan. Yeah. And that place is cold. Ice cold. So, Rich, what do you think?
First of all, I mean, it's always really interesting how, like, these big changes of heart, changes of spirit happen when
you have a personal story.
Exactly. I mean, and how disturbing is that? That, like, if all of us were just, if we just, like, knew someone, like, I mean, all these, like, LGBT haters, if they just knew, like, that their son, I mean, and don't get me wrong, some people, there's no saving them, but some people, you know, your son or your daughter, you're like, oh my God, what have I been doing? It's a person.
And I think that's why that's really, like, I think it's really important, right, for people to tell their story, right, to come out and have a conversation about what you're going through, because that's how you really create connections. And I think we've seen a lot of people move to the left, or not even the left, moved the correct way on this issue, right? Because it's not a right or left here. And it's because somebody very close to them is part of the LGBTQ community, and the things that they say and the policies they advocate for have a direct, horrible implication on the emotional and mental needs of somebody they care about. And that is what forced them to make the change. Now, this pastor is brave and courageous, and he's taken a courageous step to call out hatred and discrimination. And for that, he should be applauded and praised. You know, it's what he did, Rich, I think is so similar to what we saw happen in Selma, Alabama 50 years ago when those 3 ministers from Boston said that they were going to march for freedom and march for the right to vote and lost their lives because racist people who discriminate and prejudice individuals took their lives away from them.
No, you're right. And I think that I really like to see these stories when these religious leaders come out and they actually take a stand on something. I mean, one of the most compelling things to me is that, you know, you see the priests. The Pope is a perfect example. One of the reasons people love the Pope so much is because he's speaking the truth, right? I mean, a lot of these churches, like, you heard the laws that, you know, he's going to trial in his church for officiating a same-sex marriage.
I mean, I think, you know? and to add to that, what he said in the interview, he said it's about the church. He said it symbolizes. It's he's sitting outside because he said it symbolizes how our church, particularly the United Methodist Church, is pushing LGBTQ people outside. It symbolizes how they're pushing LGBTQ people outside of the church and into the cold. And I think that is a walking contradiction to what the Bible says. The Bible literally says, the book says, come as you are. That means you come gay, you come straight, you come poor, you come rich, you come happy, you come sad, you come depressed, you come with anxiety, you come with the headache, you come with the hangover. No matter what, you come as you are. And I think the fact that people are so against gay people, they won't invite them in their church, they won't understand and appreciate and accept their lifestyle, you're saying, don't come as you are, come as we want you to be.
It's insane. And I mean, just to double down on what Richard's saying, this notion that like what the Bible says and the reason that, you know, gay people shouldn't come to the church and they shouldn't get married is because it's in the Bible is absolutely absurd. I mean, it is just hate veiled as religion. I mean, if you were to actually be a fundamentalist and follow every word of the Bible, you'd be killing your wife. Yep. There'd be no divorces. Divorced people couldn't come to the church. I mean, it's absolutely absurd.
You wouldn't wear leather and jeans on the same day because you can't wear two fabrics.
So don't act like it's your religion and that's why. Just
it's
say,
not your religion when you...
I don't like gay people.
Listen, it's not your religion when you go to the Golden Corral and slop that fried fish on your plate.
Nope.
Or the shrimp.
So just call it what it is. Listen, I mean, if that's how you feel, say that. Don't say, God is telling me
and when
that
you
I
eat that bacon, is that bacon good?
Exactly.
That bacon is against the Bible too. Ha! And I believe in the Bible. Yeah. I'm a big believer in the Bible, but I believe the Bible says, come just as you are. I mean, the day Jesus died, I mean, if he's not a living example of what we should be, then nothing else is. On the day the dude died, he was sitting on the cross in pain and agony. And there was two people next to him. It was like, one was a murderer, one was a thief. He's like, y'all want to come? Let's roll. That's exactly how it happened, folks.